Hey, this is Charles with Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Today I'm going to show you how to change your oil on your CRF450L. Maintaining your motorcycle is really important, and if you want to help prevent any premature engine wear, you need to stay up on your oil changes. What happens with the oil, over time it breaks down and it doesn't lubricate as well as fresh engine oil, but it also gets contaminants in there and they need to be flushed out, especially after engine break-in. So that's why it's important to stay up on this maintenance schedule and get that oil changed out. Now, this bike we have right here, it's a 2019 CRF450L. But this procedure is going to be the same for all current model CRF450Ls. Now, depending where you're riding, the maintenance schedule is going to be different. So if you're mostly using this bike for street, you're going to get that oil changed out every 600 miles. Or if you're mostly using this bike for off-road, you're going to do the oil change after your first initial break-in ride, and then every 8 races or 30 hours of use thereafter. So this oil change, it's really easy to do. Let's go ahead and get it done. To do this job, we need some common hand tools, including a torque wrench and a 10mm Allen socket. We also have our ratio right, a funnel, drain pan, safety glasses, rags, and some rubber gloves. As far as parts go, we're going to use the Tusk oil change kit. This is a convenient kit that comes with your choice of oil, the O-rings, and the oil filter. And then we also have some contact cleaner to help clean things up. The first step is to run our engine for a minute and let that oil warm up. All right, underneath our bike, we've already removed our skid plate. We put our drain pan into place, and then we're gonna remove this drain plug right here. This takes that 10mm Allen socket. We'll remove it, and then we'll replace it onto a clean rag. Now moving over to the left side of the bike, I'm gonna level this thing up, and that way we can get all of that engine oil out, or as much as we can possible out of that engine. Then we'll remove the left side engine cover right here. Now keep in mind, when you take all 3 of these bolts out on the cover, they're all a little bit different size, so just make sure they go back to their original locations. Now that we have the bolts out of the cover, to gain enough clearance to actually pull it off, we need to press this shift lever down, and then we'll pull it out, just like that. And while you're down here, there's probably going to be dirt and debris underneath here. We want to clean that, especially by this oil filter cover, but it's a good idea to clean everything else up as well. All right, now that we have everything cleaned up, we're going to remove these 2 bolts from our oil filter cover. And for reassembly, you have the short bolt on top and the long one's going to be on the bottom. And we'll remove it. Now keep in mind, when you remove the oil filter, there's going to be a spring behind it, and we want to make sure that we don't lose that spring. All right, the next thing we'll do is clean this area up. So I'm just going to take a clean rag and wipe that cavity out, and also where that cap sits against, I'm going to clean that up as well. The next thing we'll do is remove these O-rings from the oil filter cover and our drain plug, and then we're going to use some contact cleaner and clean everything up. After that, we'll take our new O-rings. We're gonna put a little bit of oil on them, and we'll install them onto the drain plug and this oil filter cap. Next, we'll take the Tusk oil filter, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of oil on the rubber right here, and we'll install this onto our cover. Next, we'll take the spring, and it's really important to make sure this stays in place while you're installing it, and having the bike leaned over to this left side definitely helps with that. And while we reinstall the oil filter cover bolts, the shorter one is going to go on top, and then the longer one goes on bottom, and we're going to torque those down to 7 foot-pounds. All right, now that we have these bolts tightened down, I'm going to reinstall this left side engine cover, and to do that, again, we're pressing down on the shift lever, and then we'll pop this thing into place. Again, this is important to get these 3 bolts in the correct positions. So for this bike, this medium length bolt is going to go in the back. We have the longer one, this is going to go in the front. And then the shorter length bolt is going to go on the bottom. And if you're going to torque these down, you'll torque them to 7 foot-pounds. And while we're down here, I'm going to shift our transmission back into neutral. Next, I'm going to clean the sealing surface for the drain plug. Then we'll install the drain plug and torque it to 13 foot-pounds. After that, I'm going to remove our dipstick. And once we have this removed, I'm going to remove any dirt or debris. I'm going to wipe that away from the hole so we don't knock anything down in there. And I'm also going to clean up this dipstick. I'll wipe all that dirt away from the O-ring. Now that we have this cleaned up, I'm going to install the funnel, and I'm going to fill the engine with 1150 milliliters of oil. Now we'll reinstall the dipstick, and I'm going to start and run the engine for a minute. Let everything settle for a second after we shut it off, and we're going to check for any leaks, make sure the drain plug's tight, and if everything checks out okay, we'll reinstall our skid plate. All right, now that the bike has sat for a minute, I'm going to tip it up level. And anytime you're checking your oil, you want the bike to be level. And how you do this, you'll remove the dipstick, we'll wipe it clean, and then we're just going to set it in place. You don't screw it in place, and you just make sure that the level is up on the grid. So we're right at the top of the grid. That's exactly where we want to be. If you're not there, you'll top it off. And then at this point, we did check and make sure we had no leaks so we can reinstall that skid plate. Changing your oil really is that quick and easy. If you need this Tusk oil change kit or any other parts for your bike, be sure to check out our website. We have a lot of options on there. We offer free shipping over $75. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we have a lot of other helpful content on there. Thanks for watching.